Hurricane Imelda slamming Bermuda last night, and now we are waking up this morning to hurricane warnings being dropped, but a tropical storm warning still in effect.
Fox Weather Meteorologist Haley Meier. She is live in St. George's, Bermuda with the very latest. Oof, look at those winds. Haley, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I mean, what the daylight can bring. We have finally a visual. If you walk down these steps, it'll take you to a beach. The beach is gone. You can see right below my feet, there's some water standing, waves crashing up against the shore and up against me, quite frankly. This is what we mean when we're talking about monster waves. You can even see with some overwash, a little bit of debris and sand that's been sprayed across the staircase here. But this is another iconic landmark across the island of Bermuda, specifically over in St. George's. You have another welcome to Bermuda sign, just another tidbit of how much people enjoy this region, how much of a tourist area it truly is, not only for the United States, but all across the world, being an island smack dab in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But the Atlantic right now is angry. I mean, you can see the effect that these shoals are having, the white caps breaking, and you know, even the waves coming in at an angle. And that's something I've noticed when tropical systems slam in, is the waves really start to change. The whole ocean, instead of moving into shore, it moves at a northwest angle or a southwest angle, depending on the winds. Then you also see a couple areas here where we have ponding. If I step in it a little bit, I would say maybe an inch or so of standing water. That's likely due to some of the overwash, but also the heavy rain that we've had at times. Now, I will say the rain is the least of Bermuda's worries across this event. It's the wind. And the potential landfall was projected to be at around 1 o'clock in the morning here in Bermuda. It was just a small mist to the south, but that north and especially northwestern edge of this storm has been ferocious with the wind. Right now, it's St. George's, where I'm standing, that's taking on the worst of it. The far western half of the island is probably starting to watch conditions get a little bit better. But where I'm standing, as Imelda pulls to the northeast of Bermuda, we have that wraparound wind effect, which is why our waves are the most monstrous I've seen them thus far. Then I kind of pan over here to some of the vegetation, and you can see where we've got some palm trees that have fallen over, smaller palm trees, not the big tall ones like we were showing you early on, but still, you can see the impact of what the winds have had on the area. Top wind reports so far have been around 99 miles per hour. But I will say some of the higher mountainous areas, I wouldn't say mountains, more so hills across Bermuda, they don't have weather stations on top of them. So if you're thinking about a lower lying area hitting 99 miles per hour, you can only imagine what some of the higher elevations could get across this event. Right now, no longer hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings. Definitely say we're getting tropical storm force winds, to say the least, here in St. George's.
Yeah, Haley, we just got an update from Stephen McLeod, our meteorologist behind the scenes. Wind gusts around 48 miles per hour where you're standing right now. I did want to ask you, because we can see the sea spray. We can see the spray of the salt water coming on the camera lens. How much of a drop-off is behind that wall?
I would say behind this wall, you've got about 20 feet worth of a drop-off. Potentially, give or take a little bit there. So the majority of the island is influenced by this big, sharp cutoff. It's not the whole island surrounded by luscious beaches. Yeah, we do have a couple beaches here, but the majority, especially where they place their homes, it's up a little bit higher. And so that's also another piece of the infrastructure that helps them fare as well as they do in events just like this. But I will say the causeway that connects Northeast Bermuda, where I'm at here, and Hamilton, the capital, which is a bit further out to our southwest, that is right up against the water. And I can guarantee you in this moment, there's standing water on that causeway. They close it when there is 50 mile per hour wind speeds or greater. The winds can be too much of an influence on the vehicles. There's a lot of smaller electric vehicles, especially ones that tourists can take for smaller rides across the island. So those are big concerns, which is why they closed the causeway at that time. But unfortunately, back in 2003, when Fabian came through, it cost the lives of about 4 people on that causeway. And, you know, in speaking to residents, they've told me that, you know, one loss of life, the entire island takes personally. It's not 6 degrees of separation, it's a 1 degree of separation here. They know everybody by sight, maybe not by name, but by sight. And so that's why one death is catastrophic here in Bermuda, and they do everything they can to fortify things as the storm comes in. But guys, clearly, oh, we've got a little rainbow off into the corner, a sign a little covenant there saying, hey, better weather is ahead, but you can't really see the rainbow. It's just a brief little reflection, but it's just a sign that Bermuda, you're about to come through the end of this, to say the least.
Exactly, the light after that storm there. Haley, for those who are just joining us here on Fox Weather, earlier you talked about the difference in the feel. Describe the feel from the humidity to the dry air being wrapped in now.
Well, I will say, Craig, right now all I feel is soaking wet because I was down by the water and the waves were crashing. So, but one thing that was really interesting, the second I stepped off the plane on Monday, I was like, dang, it's humid. Like, oh my gosh. And I mean, I'm from the South. I'm used to humidity, but it hit at a different level. You could feel it. And every time you opened up the balcony doors to my hotel room, the whole room fills up with this mildew and the condensation on the mirrors, on the floor. I almost slipped a couple times. And so when I was going out to take video of the storm at its height at 1 to about 3 o'clock in the morning this morning here in Bermuda, my camera would fog up instantly. And now, very different story. You can feel that drier air being interacted. It's no longer so hot and muggy. It's now a little bit chilly. The wind certainly making it feel a little bit cooler too. So a stark change from when I first arrived to where I'm at now, and all of that due to the trough to the north, and as the storm starts to make its extratropical transition. For folks across the Northeast, you could somewhat equate it to a nor'easter in some weird way, on how it's that cold, intense wind and some coastal flooding as well. So this is where I'm at in Northeast Bermuda, but I mean, the South Shores, they take it on the worst historically. They're probably faring a little bit better right now as the winds start to pull away from shore, but I'll be interested to see what some of the storm reports and what some of the local news reports come out of this. It's, you know, we haven't heard much so far. It's been dark, it's been quiet, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of hours.
Yeah, a little island there, 21 miles long. You've been doing a great job, Haley. We appreciate it. Enjoy a little bit of island time eventually before you come on back. That is Fox Weather Meteorologist Haley Meier from St. George's, Bermuda.